decided as long as I'm working on the Yamaha Grizzly today to revisit the winch issue. In earlier videos I had completely taken apart and rebuilt the winch, repaired a problem with the brush connection, and the winch was working great. And then I had inadvertently had a problem with the winch control, the butterfly switch on the top here had gotten stuck and I didn't notice it, so that caused the winch to be retracting the cable until this part actually jammed into here, and the winch was basically stuck and it was trying to pull itself to the in position, trying to spool in even though it couldn't anymore. I was driving along, and by the time I realized what the burning smell was, I had already damaged the winch, and came back here and verified that I was still getting 12 volts to the two connections here on the winch motor, and that the winch motor no longer was working at all. I was hoping that maybe it was some kind of an auto reset or something, but once I determined that 12 volts was coming up to here, I realized it wasn't a problem with the winch circuit, it's a problem with the winch motor itself. So I decided I'm going to work on that. So rather than go through the trouble of taking this winch assembly out right away, for starters, I'm just going to remove the end cap and see if I could see what kind of damage might be in there. Well, that's not a good sign at all. I took this bolt out, and that black stuff reeks of burnt shellac, which means it's probably the motor windings are completely cooked in there. But well, we'll take it apart and see what else we see. Wow, completely destroyed. The enamel on the copper windings completely melted and burned, and then it actually got so hot that I can actually see right here there's a copper wire that's completely popped off, broken. So this is basically now just a lump of metal junk. So the only way I could fix this is if I replace this rotor section of the motor. The worn winch components are very expensive, so it's actually cheaper to buy. I'm going to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be cheaper to buy either this whole motor assembly as a complete unit, or it might even be cheaper to buy another winch depending on where I source the winch from. The Harbor Freight's got a sale on winches right now, and I mean, one of the ones they had, it was like 80 bucks. And yeah, sure, it's Harbor Freight, cheap quality, but you know, do I want to put an original worn winch on here, which is going to be like $400 or $500? I mean, it's sick money what they want for these winches. Well, I'm going to try and put this back on just for safekeeping. You got to be real careful when you're pushing the bolts in through here. They've got to engage these nuts, and if you push too hard, the nuts will fall out of their captive slots and fall inside. And once they fall inside, the only way you're going to put this back together is to completely remove the winch and completely disassemble this side of the housing from the spool. So I'm going to see if I can put this together without going through all that trouble by carefully sliding the nut and turning it as I slide it to see if I can catch the threads. To figure out if this Harbor Freight winch would fit, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the rating of this winch. This winch is rated for 2,000 pounds. So it's a 2,000 pound winch, and it uses a 3/16 inch cable. Of course, it's 12 volt. And then I want to look at the bolt spacing. Basically, I want to know the distance, centerline distance between these two bolts. And I'll tell you what, if it's a little narrower on the Harbor Freight one, I'll modify that plate and re-drill holes. You can bet. If I can make a cheap winch fit in there, I will. So, looks like this is going to be, well, if I go end to end, that's going to be, it's 4 7/8, so it's probably some metric measurement, but 4 7/8 of an inch. Alright, last thing I'm going to do is, since I was ordering parts from this company, I decided to get some of these rivets. This company was one of the more reasonably priced ones. These 9026907076 rivets, plastic rivet things, these weird little pop things. That's basically what goes in these holes here. There's one there and there's a bunch of them missing, so I got 15 of them. I didn't bother counting how many I need, but if I have extras, I'll just keep them for the future, because I'm sure they're going to fall out and get lost again. But you can see they're just a little pop thing. So not much to these. Basically they just go in here and stick it down in the hole. I'll try this one. Here we go. And then push the centerpiece down, and that locks it in. There you go. So I'm going to install a few of these. Gee, I guess I should have counted them before I ordered them. I'm still missing, let's see, 3 over here. I filled in all those. 4. A couple of these were replaced by screws by somebody. I don't think either that or maybe those are supposed to be screws at the end locations. 5. 6. Looks like I could use 7 more. Maybe some extras. So next time I'll order 10.